When it comes to simplifying life, people usually think of things and objects inside their house. But have you ever thought about decluttering your mind and the thoughts in your brain? How do people, and even celebrities with everything, keep it simple? You see, most people believe that celebrities live in excess with their riches, but no one really knows that most celebrities think that excessiveness is overrated and that less is more. Bad habits like running behind extravagance, fake luxuries, and overspending are not joyful ways of living. And while it may seem impossible to unlearn these harmful behaviors and replace them with more positive ones, doing so is actually much simpler than you may think. And for that, we can count on a well-known celebrity who, although has the money and means to have excess in her life, she chooses to live honestly and regards simplicity as the ultimate sophistication of life. It's time to take action, and in today's video, you will learn 4 ways to decode the meaning of life and redefine complicated narratives from the perspective of Hollywood sweetheart Reese Witherspoon. Notably, Witherspoon has enjoyed one of Hollywood's rarest and longest runs of mainstream popularity and success. Reese let her accomplishments speak for herself and rode high on her $1 million smile, despite the fact that most people thought she was just a country girl who merely had the potential to do rom-coms. Who knew? This same doubted woman would start her own production company, win an Academy Award, and go back home to 3 beautiful kids, an amazing husband, and lots of red wine? Yeah, not many, but look at her now. Dear celebrity enthusiasts, before we move forward, here are the burning questions you must be anticipating to get answered. How did she acquire such a calm and confident demeanor? What gave her the confidence to constantly put her sanity ahead of a few moments of fame? And how to be purposeful like her? Well, let's find out. Ladies and gentlemen, you may be surprised to learn that Reese is a staunch advocate of minimalism, and that's what she owes her success to. Her simplistic mindset has paved a way for her success, and she's gladly been vocal about it. From a very young age, Reese was surrounded by people who taught her how humility and success go hand in hand. And no matter how pretty or talented she was, she'd still be kicked out of the room if she didn't know how to keep her feet on the ground. However, Reese didn't develop this characteristic out of a desire to avoid being rejected. Rather, she was born into a family of healthcare professionals who instilled compassion in her heart and appreciated her for the little things she did, like making her bed in the morning, to do a movie, which not only helped her achieve success, but also gave her the self-assurance she needed to stand out. Once our little girl was good to go, Reese implemented her very first principle to simplify her life. Like many other Hollywood A-listers, Reese got overwhelmed by her upcoming opportunities and deeply suffered from imposter syndrome, which later caused great distress during crucial times of her life. It was, however, past time for her to begin introspecting in order to discover her life's purpose. Within no time, by asking herself a series of questions, Reese was able to reroute the tangled pathways in her brain and identify her life's calling. It was her perfect opportunity to cut down on her unhealthy dopamine levels and develop a resilient mindset that could give any hater a taste of his own medicine. Now here's the deal: when a person doesn't have anything fueling them, or more simply, when they lack a purpose in life, they become vulnerable to the bandwagon effect, which makes them start liking everything, having no guiding principles, and do whatever others want them to do in order to feel accepted. But here's what you need to know. Redefining your morals, focusing on gratitude, and repeating the mantra, less is more, are essential and life-changing habits if you want to live a simpler life and not be swayed by the superficial allure of the modern world. Reese has also actively credited books for her improving mental health and the way she manages to multitask between her personal and professional life. Safe to say, positivity makes you glow. No wonder why people get starstruck by her charm. However, for many people, taking this initial step is not enough to get their life back on track. In such cases, the second concept that Reese outlines works like magic. Reese compares an unorganized brain with the untangled earphones that are hard to separate. Or your house one day after a party. While most people don't pay attention to this detail, it is, however, extremely crucial to luring your brain into discipline and organization. The most idealistic way to get out of this clutter is to create an imaginary workplace in your mind, which will help you organize your ideologies from scratch. Once you have shuffled and placed the thoughts in their respective compartments, things become easy for you to classify as important or unimportant. Organizing your brain also includes introducing new perspectives and brushing away the old ones that have feasted on you longer than they should have. To understand this better, imagine the parasitic relationship between plants we were taught about in middle school, where the host dies after a while and the parasite does nothing more than look for a new soulmate. Yes, it's as simple as that. Keep the negativity and overcomplicated thoughts aside, period. But many times, life overwhelms you with complicated situations, and you become compelled to abide by the unrealistic and toxic rules of society. To escape this vicious cycle, you should be so secure within yourself that none of these temporary adversities could dare to shatter you or your principles. Ladies and gentlemen, but that isn't it, because what you're about to learn will boggle your brain. So pay close attention. This life philosophy cannot be discussed without introducing the Diderot effect, a philosophy adored by Reese. In the early 18th century, a man named Denis Diderot sweated blood while compiling the encyclopedia. Since he had no patrons, his employment appeared to be laborious and unsatisfactory. After years of dedication, the Empress of Russia finally decided to buy his entire library for the whopping sum of $150,000. The man had not expected to spend such a large sum of money, so it was difficult for him to balance his expenditures. He first purchased an extravagant coat, followed by a deluxe armchair to match the grandeur of the coat, and then a table and paintings, and so on. The essence of this phenomenon is that our wants are never satisfied, so instead of focusing on what we don't have, why not start being content with what we do have? Reese started giving attention to true life experiences rather than valuing materialistic goods. Things became as clear as day when she became a mother and experienced the true joys of life. Ever since then, your favorite rom-com superstar has been keeping her expenditures and thoughts low-key and her achievements open for display. Reese acknowledged that she was self-conscious and that she felt she was falling short of the ideal image of herself that the world envisioned for her. After a little introspection, however, she came to terms with the fact that her creative potential was infinite. When she finally understood this, her entire worldview shifted for the better, and now she's prepared to help young, aspiring brains get their careers off the ground. But wait, did you really think a master class could end without a powerful booster? Nope, absolutely not. And that's why this treasure was well kept for the last. It's infuriating to witness a whole generation manipulated by false social norms and pressured to keep up appearances on social media platforms. Images are often photoshopped, one's social standing is exaggerated, and connections are often formed for purely pragmatic reasons. Overall, people are living and sharing a falsehood. A social media detox is crucial to break this cycle, which is having devastating effects on people's emotional lives. As a result, ladies and gentlemen, individuals are risking the jinx on their happiness by broadcasting every detail of their lives on social media in an effort to show something to others. One of the best decisions Reese made was to never fall for trends. She has never been pressured to dress a certain way or talk in a certain manner. She's truly been the bubbly girl all throughout these years, introspective of what others say. And shouldn't that be your inspiration to stop caring about what the world has to say and start embracing your truest self? So, here's your place card for today. Try acknowledging the root cause of your problems and adjusting your brain accordingly. No matter what people say, you don't need that extra pair of shoes or the latest collection of designer bags. All you need is mass and volume in your personality and character. And don't forget that simplicity is the purest form of anything. Check out Will Smith's tips on that in the next video.